City Council, City of Portland, Louisiana, dates Wednesday, September 13th, 2023.
How you doing?
5:33 p.m. Council chambers, third floor, City Hall. Each person must decide before entering the chambers which agenda item they wish to comment on. If they are not seated in the chambers when the agenda item is heard, we'll be notified by an officer secretary of the council chambers to address that agenda item. Agenda, please silence all electronic devices. Agenda item number 1, call to order. Agenda item number 2, stand for pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item 3, roll call.
Ms. Charlene, Clerice, have y'all checked in?
He's harassing me over here.
Five present, no action.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 9th, 2023.
Motion.
It said not used, but, what that mean? Not used? They're not using it? Yeah, I had a motion.
All right, we'll just do verbal.
Okay, they're still voting.
If I don't have it. Who motioned?
I motion that.
second.
It's not showing much.
They said not used on
Yeah,
our
I'm not
screen.
getting any names, but I know where their names are on here. I don't have names.
Okay, I got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilwoman Lacy.
Councilwoman Riviere.
Any objection? Hearing none.
That what he said.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy? Yes. Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item 5, approve the minutes of the special meeting of August 23rd, 2023.
I make the motion to approve the minutes with the necessary correction.
Second.
I got a motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Riviere. Any objections? Hearing none.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy? Yes. Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 6, public comments. Comments from the public are allowed in accordance with the Louisiana Revised Statute 42:11, section 2 through 34, and specifically limited to agenda items to be considered during the meeting. 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic. Agenda item 7, presentation concerning the upcoming statewide and parish-wide elections. Mark Raffio, Clerk of Courts, and Corey Pasadena. Register of voters. Step forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members for having us here tonight. This is Mark Raffio, my dad Parish Clerk of Court. And I have Corey Pasadena here, the Register of Voters, and their Chief Deputy Kirsten Crockett is also here. We have been making a little tour of the parish. We've been to Addis and also to Bruley, just chatting a little bit about some polling place changes and some precinct changes that occurred with the redistricting and the census that came about. So that's all we're here tonight to talk about, and just wanted to give y'all this information so y'all can take it back to your people and your constituents to just get the word out. We think it's going to be a pretty good turnout in on October 14th. So we want to try to avoid as much confusion as we can and get the people to the right precincts as we can. They should be, and again, that's why we're here tonight. So first, I just want to chat about it. Y'all all know about the early vote site that we have at the Register of Voters office in Fort Allen, but we also now have one, and have for the last 2 years in Bruley at the utilities called the Utilities Building, I guess, in Bruley, right on East St. Francis Street, if you're familiar with it, right next to, basically right next to the Bruley line with them. So right on that corner of East St. Francis, maybe 100 yards from, I guess, LA1. So that's a new precinct with the help of the Secretary of State, the Parish Council, Corey and her group, myself and my group. We were able to get that to happen about 2 years ago. So this is the biggest election, the largest turnout we think we're gonna have since we got that going, and we believe we're ready for that. So if you would, if you have some people that live here in Port Allen, but maybe work a dial or down south a little bit in the Plaquemine area, if they're coming back and they wanna vote early, they'll have an opportunity to do that if they like at the Bruley, Utilities building, as well as here at the Registrar of Voters office in Port Allen. So that's the first thing we wanted to talk about. Corey, September 30th through October the 7th is early voting. So that's again, Corey telling me, yeah. So October 30th, which is a Saturday, to October the 7th, which is a Saturday, that 1 week period, we'll have that again, early voting will be there from 8:30 to 6.
Excluding Sunday.
Corey's gonna chat a little bit about, in a minute, she's gonna chat a little bit about something she wanted to pass on with you about registration. I wanted to tell y'all about some precinct changes, and that's there talking about polling place changes, but precinct changes. And we have about 4 or 5 in this area. City Court had 2 precincts in it, it's now only gonna have 1. At last election, it was 10A and 10B, now we just have precinct 10. And then 10B, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Those people, which are mainly people living in West Side Village, will be voting at the con school. So I'll chat about a little bit about that in a second. The KC Hall had 4 precincts, we're now down to 2. That's gonna be precinct 9 and 11. The Ag Center, which was a few people in Port Allen, that also now has 2 precincts, and those are called 14A and 14B. I'm thinking most of the people that were in 14 are still going to be going to the Ag Center. So I think we're mainly okay with that with the people here in town. Yes.
That's cooperative extension down Court Street?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's what they call it, yes.
Yeah.
But behind the Council on Aging and next to the Then we have con school is going to remain with 3 precincts. It's going to be 13A and 13B, which we call a consolidated precinct. And then precinct 15, which is more of a standalone, that'll also be at con school in the activity center. And again, the big thing I said, I'll get back to that, and I will right now. The 10B, the majority of the people that were voting from West Side Village were coming down to the city court to vote. Those guys that will not be their polling place anymore. They will be going to the con school. Their new precinct is they're going to be part of 13A. So they'll be voting at the con school in 13A. A great app, if you guys are not aware of, you can pass this along. The Secretary of State has a great app that's Go Vote. You get on your phone, you put in your information, name, date of birth, I think, and zip code, if I'm not mistaken, and it'll tell you where your polling place is. So again, this is just, and also your ballot. So it's just us telling you guys to please pass that on to your people and make it a little bit better for everybody on election day. And Corey wants to chat a little bit about voter registration.
Yes. Okay, so today, as of 4:30, the in-person, by mail, and or OMV deadline has passed for registration or changes, but you still have another deadline. Saturday, September 23rd is the Go Vote online. That's govote.com. You can register and make changes online to your registration before midnight on the 23rd. He covered early voting. That's 8:30 to 6, Saturday, September 30th to Saturday, October 7th. We're trying to encourage people to bring their driver's license or ID just to, streamline the process. If you don't have a driver's license or ID, you'll just be asked to fill out an affidavit identifying yourself. Locations, Port Allen office and the Bruley site. We are accepting absentee ballots, voted absentee ballots at both locations, the Port Allen main office and the Bruley early voting site. The deadline to request an absentee by mail ballot for anyone who's going to be out of town, over 65, in school, there's numerous reasons, but, the requests are due in our office by 4:30 p.m. on October 10th, that's a Tuesday, and the voted ballots are due Friday, the day before the election, October 13th, by 4:30. The sooner you request, the better. The post office can sometimes, be kind of funny delivering stuff and getting stuff back to us, so it's, the sooner you request, the better. And like I said, the deadline for request is 4:30, October 10th.
That's all I have for sure.
And if y'all have any questions, anybody has questions on election day or during early voting, always call our office or the Secretary of State's office. We provide those numbers to the commissioners on election day in our info books. So if anybody ever has any issues, have them call us. We're there on election day to answer those calls.
Hey, Corey, do you have any type of flyer or something like where the different voting sites can be?
Yes, ma'am. I have a few with me.
Was it published in the West Side Journal or what other?
I did publish
Advertisement.
I published in the Website Journal just the address, the early voting dates, times, and the two locations. But I have something kind of a little prettier, that I can either email to
Waiting
y'all.
for the polling check, for waiting.
Is this okay?
Yeah, well, yeah, the locations
are
are
there,
there.
and also each one of them have one in their binder.
Yeah.
But there are copies of it.
But I can send you all the information, email, whatever. Thank y'all so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time, y'all, we appreciate it.
And the American Legion Hall is no longer holding.
The American Legion Hall hasn't been a polling place probably for the last, I guess, maybe 5 or 6 years. And I'll be real brief. If a precinct has 300 voters, that's fine, it can stand alone. If it has less than 300 voters, then it must be consolidated with another precinct. So what happened at the American Legion Hall, it fell below the 300 voter threshold, and because of that, it ended up we sent it over to the KC Hall, and it got consolidated with another precinct. And all consolidated means is, and this is for election day, it means that you have one set of commissioners working 2 precincts. And that's all by Secretary of State rules, state statute, I should say Secretary of State, it's all about state statutes and how that's set up. So that's why the American Legion Hall, I hate to say it, but kind of like went away. That's probably not the right terminology, but that's what happened with that.
And what about the 9 or 10 that's on the other side of the coast?
9 and 10 got, and again, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to come. 9 and 10 got kind of sucked into every.
No, I'm talking about the voters. You got about 9 or 10 that's on the other side of the coast.
Precinct
behind the
6.
wall.
That's the, down Phillips Way.
And they're still voting down there. Those guys vote at the Antonio Fire Station
Okay.
in, what we would call Bruin, Mayor, but I guess it's Lindale, we would call it Lindale.
Okay.
In Antonio Road. Most of those guys vote early, isn't that not right, Kurt? Most of those guys vote early, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, some of them don't vote at all. I'm being honest.
Anything else? Thank y'all, we appreciate y'all.
Appreciate your time. Can we go?
It's on the back. I'm one short, Miss Charlene.
Really?
But I'll send it to you.
No, she has one. She just picky with me. Thank you.
And then here's the go vote cards, for the app.
I'm not giving you. Oh, she didn't give me. That's it.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
All right, then I may consider approving mayor's leave recommendation for the following positions. Ms. Lynette Taylor Sane as a full-time administrative coordinator at grade step 111A, effective September 13, 2023. Kendrick Knighton as a utility operator trainee in the water and gas department at grade step 109A, effective August 31st to September 13th pay period. Daniel Horner as a gas operator meter reader receiving a one-step pay increase from step 107H to 107I effective September 20th through August the 2nd of pay period.
July
Must be 6/20, I'm sorry.
6.
Had to be 6.
We've got 7 on here.
Oh, yeah, okay, 7 to 8, all right, that's right, okay.
And Kevin Garfey as a gas operator
Same.
meter reader receiving a one-step pay increase of step grade 110F to 110G effective pay period 7/20 through 8/2 pay period.
Spell our names matter.
Who
Spell
is
our
that?
names matter.
Which one?
Kevin Godfrey.
G-O-D what?
Or
Oh,
F-R?
who is Daniel Hunter, man,
He's a recently hired meter reader.
with Mr. Perry?
Mhm.
So
And,
when was
Dan-
he hired?
I don't recall when he was hired.
I mean, hired enough for, get his increase already?
Man, what this is they attended a gas class. He
Okay.
certified as gas operator.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, one step increase for completing that gas class.
Oh, okay, I thought you was doing it for,
No, these two individuals, Kevin Garfey and Daniel Horner, completed that gas certification.
okay.
It was correct on the, and we just transposed it wrong.
yeah, that's what I seen it. So I didn't know if,
No, I think we're good. I think
It was
everybody
correct on
knows
the
what we're
memo.
talking about.
I move.
A second.
I got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Any objections? Hearing none?
Ms. Brown?
yes,
Ms. Gordon?
Yes,
Ms. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Ms. Riviere?
Yes.
5-0 there.
Thank you. Agenda item 9, consider approving the bid for the railroad pump station rehabilitation. PEC project number 10372. Dash .1, awarding the project to J&G Third Contracting LLC of Memphis, Louisiana, with a total base bid amount of $185,000. Mr. Tony Hickok?
Thank you, Mayor. Y'all, this is a bid we took, and it's a little bit, it's not really the rehabilitation. We actually did a major rehabilitation about 5 years ago. Unfortunately, one of the pumps ate a brick and needed to be replaced, and we're also deciding to do some architectural and control improvements, including, putting just some better ventilation and better doors so you don't get as much dust into the switchgear. We've got 3 bids. The 2 lowest were pretty tight, and we are doing work currently at the wastewater treatment plant with J&G, the Third Construction LLC. So we do recommend that y'all award it to them. So I can answer any questions.
I move.
second.
Got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilwoman Gordon. Any objection? Hearing none?
Brown?
Yes,
Ms. Gordon?
Yes,
Ms. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Ms. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank y'all.
Agenda item 10, consider recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission to re-subdivide and rezone lots 10, 12 square, 82 Pond subdivision and E2 of abandoned 13th Street, measuring 25 feet by 110 feet, Port Island 2 through 53, CB 207, East 35, CB 235, East 11, CB 342, East 16, CB 344, E3, MB 1, E9. Mr. Joe?
Good evening, council. These are lots 10 through 12 on California Avenue. It's Khan family property. It's it's currently 3 lots in the east half of the abandoned 13th Street right-of-way, which, as you know, when abandoned, reverts back to the adjacent property owner. It's currently 3 lots. It's been for sale for quite some time. They have not been able to sell it because it requires the property to be used as 1 lot under the zoning ordinance. So they requested a re-subdivide and rezone to make the 3 lots, which total 145 feet frontage, into 2 lots with 72.5 feet frontage, and to rezone from R1 to R3, which is more consistent with the recent construction in the area. It's presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission and was passed unanimously.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilman Brown. Any objection? Hear none?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 11, consider introducing an ordinance for redistricting of the city of Port Allen for the purpose of election and representation. And council, what this is there was a discussion in reference to the wording on the the wording in the ordinance. So from advice from the city attorney, the best thing to do would be to start the process over again. So we're gonna introduce the ordinance tonight and then adopt it at the next meeting.
And Mayor, this is the revised ordinance submitted by Mr. Floyd.
Did we have to put the street names on every week, say it was missing in the ordinance?
It wasn't a street name, it was a certain block of,
Right,
that was left out
With
between the
Rosedale
weekend
and
and Rosedale
Rosedale.
Road, all the way from Eleanor, all the way to the river, and needs to be added into the ordinance itself. And now that it
Did it?
is,
did he?
yes, we did.
I thought y'all got it at the,
Yeah. It was brought up at the committee meeting.
Maybe it was already submitted,
It's
so.
just a public hearing.
Yeah, it's just an introduction.
Yeah.
This is an introduction, and then there's a public hearing after. And we set it up as a public hearing just in the event that we didn't have to reintroduce it. We didn't feel like that was gonna be the proper route, so we're gonna reintroduce the ordinance. We have a public hearing, not necessarily required, but there's no harm in having a public hearing. There's multiple public bodies when they redistrict. Typically they have, multiple public hearings, even though maybe not required. So no harm in having it. It's on your agenda. But there would be another public hearing before final adoption.
After this public hearing.
Correct. Because you can't have a public hearing if you're introducing an ordinance, but we had to go ahead and set it up and get it to the paper far enough in advance before we knew if we had to actually reintroduce or not. So we had to get it to the paper while we were looking at it, and then after that happened, that's when we realized, well, we're probably gonna have to reintroduce it again. But at that point in time, it had already been advertised as a public hearing. So that's why we have this public hearing on the agenda.
I got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilwoman Lacy. Any objection? Hear none?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Lacy?
Yes.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 12, public hearing to obtain reviews regarding an ordinance for redistricting of the city of Port Allen for the purpose of election and representation. Is anyone from the public wish to be heard on this agenda item?
I would. How are y'all having a public hearing? Excuse me, I'm sorry, Jason Hammond, 315 Avenue G, or Avenue B, thank you. How are y'all having a public hearing when y'all don't even have the corrected language of the ordinance in front of you.
It's just not in their packets right now.
Right, they had the corrected language when they discussed it last week.
No, they didn't. I was here.
First, I don't see what the purpose of it, it was already submitted to the state anyway, it was approved.
I don't believe it was submitted to the ordinance had not been submitted to the state. Mr. Floyd did submit the shape files to the state, which is the shape file is just kind of the electronic, the computer configuration of the map, if you will. So the issue is that, you know, if you look at the map that was adopted, and then you look at the written words that are supposed to follow the map in writing, those two did not match. So that was the issue. But the map itself, you know, the shape file has been submitted, but we're gonna go back and basically reintroduce the ordinance to make the ordinance, the written words, match the map. And then we'll probably ask him just to resubmit it again, just even though it would not have, the map, the shape file itself would not have changed.
But that's what we talked about on the last meeting.
But that was just a discussion. This is now the action for it.
Right. And Mr. Hammock said they didn't have copies of it, so.
Well, here's my.
Sure, I mean, we can.
A city ordinance is city law, okay? I remember specifically that Mr. Floyd said, oh, that doesn't really matter. It's the shape file that matters at the state gets. Not according to state law. State law specifically states that those two have to match. So I'm wondering where the corrected language is. Because if y'all don't have it, then y'all can't notify your constituents of it as well. And it is supposed to be law, period.
But it was supposed to be done.
It was supposed to have been done, yeah.
It is done because I want drafted and presented to Mr. Floyd. If you need a copy, we can provide you with a copy of the ordinance that was redrafted. But this public hearing, like Mr. Abbott said, was put on the agenda due to the fact that we didn't think that we need to do an introduction. So it's basically, technically speaking, the public hearing at the meeting where we're gonna have the adoption, it's gonna be the official public meeting for this particular document.
So you don't think that your constituents deserve to see the corrected language before all that?
Yes, sir. Like I said, I have it if you wish to see a copy of it.
I mean, I know I would. I know there's other people who would as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in the interest of transparency, I guess you can say.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see those documents, I'll have it on my secretary's desk first thing in the morning. You got them, go over with you. But it clearly states, identified the section that was left out on the first ordinance that was drafted. And that includes, just like I said earlier, Louisiana Avenue between Louisiana and Rosedale from Illinois all the way to the river.
I'm aware of that.
Those lots.
So I think Jason said this, the only place for the public to view it is on the secretary desk.
And I mean, yeah,
pretty
if
much.
you wish to have a copy, if you wish to have a copy before the next public hearing, because at that particular time, he could make his time.
Or you want to print it in the paper?
So there'll be a notice of it that will go into the paper as well before final adoption for the next, it'll be a notice of the next public hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah,
and that's just the notice. That notice isn't required
right.
to carry the language of the ordinance and specifically in
it. It's a notice to inform, just like any other.
It's just a notice to inform that the meeting's going to happen.
Well, and if you want the notice that the matter is going to be deliberated, so if anybody wants to go to City Hall, see a copy of it, request a copy, do a public record request, whatever that's.
And reason I'm asking this is because, okay, this is a public comment period, okay? So if I wanted to come up here and make a public comment as to whatever it is about that map, about the drawing, whatever, I can't, because it's not here. So how can it be a public comment period? Is it just a public comment period for the introduction?
Correct.
What's the use?
Well, really, you know, the public hearing.
I know the true public hearing for it will be.
Correct. This public hearing was only gonna be if we felt that, you know, we could do a kind of a clerical correction to the ordinance that we already passed.
You can't.
And yeah, we figured, we figured it would be best not to go ahead and just restart the process, but we had already advertised it in the paper just in case because of the deadline for advertising. So, you know, no, really and truly, this is not the official public hearing. This is more just an extra public hearing, if you will, just because we already advertised that one was going to be tonight anyway. We had it on the agenda.
Gotcha.
But typically, no, when you introduce an ordinance, there is no public hearing on the ordinance that you're introducing that night. That public hearing doesn't come till later, which there will be another one later. So actually on this one, there will actually be 2 public hearings on this ordinance as opposed to one, which is common. But the ordinance is available. You know, if anybody wants a copy, the ordinance is available. Mr. Floyd did submit it to the mayor. We don't have necessarily a copy, you know, right here, right now, but Ms. Roche or Mr. Joseph can probably get a copy if you want one right now.
We'll take a look at trying to put it on the website if possible. And for the sake of clarity, the map isn't changing.
Correct.
Just the wording to match the map. So,
and I believe there is a copy of the map.
The map is posted
on the first floor of City Hall as well.
And so, you know, the map is actually what matters. The language has to match the map, not the map match the language. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the reality is that the map is not changing.
The map
so
is
you can use the map itself to piggyback into what the language is going to be to establish that map. But we'll definitely call the website host and see if they can put it up on the website tomorrow.
I can come by in the morning.
I think it would be good to have it on the city's website.
Okay.
Also.
Thank you.
And they can get you one tonight, a copy tonight.
Okay.
Anybody else wish to be heard in this position? Hearing none? Agenda 13, public hearing to obtain views regarding an ordinance relating to the city's grease control program. The floor is open. Anyone from the public wish to be heard in this agenda?
Well, I'm back. As some or all of y'all know, you know, from this suggestion out to y'all, it had been 6 to 9 months ago regarding grease trap testing in order to have businesses that operate grease traps be better neighbors. I know there's a lot of problems with the 8th Street sewer line. So Mr. Alvarez had looked at several different ordinances in the state. I had looked at the East Baton Rouge Parish ordinance because I did have a restaurant over there, so I was aware of that one. I believe you had looked at Covington's, and that's kind of what this was based off of. And I just had a few questions. Number one, who is doing the testing?
So I think that'll be the determination of whether the city's gonna do that in-house or have a third party come in and do that.
Because whether it be, I would say, in my opinion, a third party would be best. That way, both parties both parties could get the results of it. But also that way there's, having a third party do it might alleviate concerns of the accuracy of it. I know grease trap testing has never been done by the city of Port Allen before. So y'all probably don't have the equipment or manpower in order to accomplish the task, as well as the experience to do it. So that's my thoughts on that.
And I believe how we have this set up is a lot of the responsibility for testing, is on the restaurants, the businesses in terms of doing periodic checking of their own system using this 25% rule that's kind of uniform, really across the country in terms of that. And then we also have provisions where the city can come in and I think we have it in there where at least, once a year, we'll go in and do kind of a random test, maybe drawing a sample from the discharge to see if it's over this 100 parts per million limitation, which is, something that we found that's kind of common in jurisdictions as well.
The other question that I had, or another one that I had, was the sizing requirements. I don't know if y'all have a handout in front of y'all that has the state plumbing code grease trap sizing chart. That's what the state sanitarian uses when a potential restaurant submits their plans to the state sanitarian for approval for their health department certificate. I have a 250 total gallon capacity at my restaurant. I'm required, due to the square footage, to be actually at 175. But there's a footnote that says retail establishments expected to serve more meals than estimated by usable square footage shall install the larger size grease trap, the next larger size grease trap. And that's what I've done. My total capacity goes above and beyond. But in here it says that y'all want to require a minimum size, period, regardless of that, of at least 500 gallons. And there's no grandfathering in. It's a, you need to do this. So I'm wondering, specifically for me, why? We used to have grease trap problems back in between 2008 and about 2011 or 12, and we had finally found what the issue was, and it was not on my property. The issue was a collapsed sewer line underneath the service road, Alexander, at LA1. That got fixed, and since then we have had 0 issues. So incurring the cost of replacing my grease trap with a 500-gallon grease trap is a considerable expense, to the tune, and I just looked it up, anywhere from $2,000 just for the grease trap up to $7,000 for the range of grease traps that I looked at that were all 500 gallon capacity. That doesn't include labor to install it. So my question is, why is that going to be a hard floor limit?
And I can explain that, again, that I believe I found that in the city of Covington's grease trap ordinance. Being a lawyer, I am not an expert in how grease and oils, interact in sewer systems. So that's just for purposes of drafting. That's the number that we put in. But again, that's something that's within the discretion of the council to decide what is reasonable.
So their discretion, they could if they wanted to make that adjustment tonight.
Correct. There was no science in my head that made me arrive at a 500 gallon grease trap. It was simply that's what somebody else used. Now, again, much bigger place, I guess, than what Port Allen is. I don't know if that makes a difference in sewer pipes or not. I don't know if maybe Mr. Aracall can comment on it, but again, I had to put some kind of number in there, so that's the number that we used, and I can understand how arguments can be made and positions can be made that maybe that's too much, maybe that's not enough. Again, that's something that just needs to be presented to the council, and the council can make a decision on.
And I was just looking like to create this ordinance as it relates to grease traps. And just using the format, basically that's what you just, I was just using the format that other parishes have used. But I think probably we look at the businesses that has the grease traps, maybe to see what capacity of grease traps they use here, then maybe we could manipulate that or be able to create that from our own parish.
Well, I think
So
that's
we
the
could call
purpose.
less-
I think that's the purpose of the sizing chart with the state. That's the whole purpose of the sizing chart. That way, it covers. Look, I'm looking at it right now, and it covers, anywhere from a less than 1,000 square foot facility, all the way up to 10,000. From 125 gallon to 1,300 gallon. That's the purpose of that sizing chart. Here, I can give y'all each one.
And they didn't want to just get that message.
Well, we
may go by the square footage.
Yeah, and we certainly could. I mean, we could simply tie. There's two categories here on this chart. One is retail food usable square footage. The other one was estimated people or meal served. And again, this is one of the reasons why we had encouraged everybody reach out to the people in your district who may be affected by this, because this is the type of information that we wanted to be presented to the council. The last thing that we want to do is have something here that's just going to be overkill for our restaurants in our district. But at the same time, we want something too that's going to help us resolve the problem that we're having. So again, we're not opposed from a legal standpoint. We have no opinion in terms of what should the proper size grease trap be. That's not really a legal deal. That's more of a I see Tony.
What is kind of typical in this is, yes, you can use that as obviously your base floor. Like, in other words, if you have that square footage, you have to have a minimum in order to meet the state plumbing code. And then people would be, existing businesses, provided they meet that, would be grandfathered in. Of course, the caveat you need to have in there, doesn't matter if they have an oversized one. If it's not getting clean and it's doing the thing, you got to do whatever you got to do to, whether you have to put a ginormous one or you got to clean it out once a day. You just kind of like that way. It's not unfair to somebody who has the correctly sized one and is taking care of it. But if they have the correctly sized one and they're not taking care of it, there's got to be a way to make them either start taking care of it or put in a bigger grease trap. That way everybody is kind of covered. I can help you with the language. Sure.
And then the other item was on the inspections section of it. If a grease trap fails an inspection, the inspector shall notify the user that maintenance must be performed on the grease trap within 3 days. The inspector will return within 7 calendar days to re-inspect the grease trap. The fee for the re-inspection shall be $200 per grease trap. If the grease trap fails re-inspection, a notice of non-compliance shall be issued and maintenance must be performed on the grease trap immediately. A second re-inspection will be scheduled within 24 hours. The user shall be reassessed $200 for each re-inspection. I know from firsthand experience that whether it be just a grease pump out, which is actually happening on my grease traps tomorrow, which is just a coincidence. But sometimes if I've got to make a call because of a blockage to a plumber or to get a grease trap service, that performance within 3 days requirement in today's day and age might be tight. Getting contractors to come out to handle maintenance problems such as this is difficult at best. I would ask for a little bit more leeway on that, just because it may be, I may make the call, or whoever may make the call and say, hey, we're not able to get out there until Monday in a week and a half away, something like that.
You're talking about a re-inspection within on the first.
Well, no, I'm saying the inspector shall notify the user the maintenance must be performed on the grease trap within 3 days of the failed inspection, and that might be tough to accomplish, just because at that point you're at the mercy of a maintenance person actually coming out to do the work.
I mean, but that kind of fall back on the responsibility of the business to make sure that the grease trap is being used properly. So that's just the consequences.
Well, I understand that. But like, I'm getting mine pumped out every 6 months.
Where that would apply to you.
I'm getting mine pumped out every 6 months. And that's what was recommended to me by the grease trap service. Y'all might come out a month before my next pump out, and I might be right on that borderline. And y'all want it done in 3 days, and they might not be able to get out for another week and a half. So I just think that's pretty stringent as far as time frame goes.
So what would you ask of the council on that?
On that one, I'd ask 14 days. 14 days to be able to accomplish the maintenance.
Grease trap properly, and then maybe some type of communication, and that could come, you know.
Well, the communication is actually part of this, where you state that records must be kept, records must be presented for inspection, so whoever the inspector is can come in at any time and request, you know, when was the last time it was pumped out? And if it was, 3 months beforehand and he goes out and it fails, then that tells us it needs to be pumped out more often. But at the same time, requiring it to be done in 3 days, this might be tough. I might be able to make the call and he can come out the same day. I don't know, but I know getting an AC guy out right now, getting an electrician right now, any type of maintenance having to do with a commercial building right now, when you have to use a third party, it can get challenging to get somebody to show up to actually work.
So Evan, where did those days come from? Did they come out the sky?
That would have came from Covington's ordinance as well.
He said, I don't have an issue doing any of this.
Bigger
I like the idea of doing it, but.
And again, bigger area in Covington, they have more availability of contractors as well. So again, I don't know how that necessarily compares to. What was the first issue, Jason? I was trying to make
the first one was who was actually going to be doing the testing.
Okay.
Do y'all call the third party? Do I call the third party? That kind of thing. Just it wasn't clear. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We can move forward and still hash all of that out.
Well, if the council wants to defer the matter this month, and that would maybe give Tony some more time to suggest some language too in terms of the sizing aspect of it. If we want to defer the matter tonight, I think that Mr. Hammock's recommendation on the time period that's easy enough to understand one way or the other, but I do probably need to work with Tony on the language of maybe some sizing, get his feedback on that aspect. So we can do that, get Tony's, Mr. Abercromb's comments, and maybe come back with a revised draft next month.
Like I said, he do have some valuable concerns. I said, I do value his concerns too, but we'll just see how we do. You know, I mean, emotional draw these up.
And in the meantime as well, council, you know, if you have some restaurants or some food services in your district as well, maybe get with them about, you know, what size that they currently have as well. And, you know, again, that'll give you some more, you know, feedback too in terms of, you know, what we need to be looking at.
Maybe we could let Lance do that. Yeah.
Do what exactly?
Maybe go to the different restaurants to gather whatever information is possible.
It's possible. I would defer to a conversation with the Public Works Director on how to implement the inspection process and who's going to be in charge of that.
Yeah, and the only concern I have honestly, as I mentioned, the 14 days, but then when you're talking about 14 days where you're going to have grease leaking into a sewer system that could cause damage to the sewer line, which this is why we're bringing this issue up right now, trying to curtail it. 3 days is a little short. I would recommend 5, but 14 would be a little too long. And the expense it costs us right now just to dissolve the grease that's in the line that's pre-existing now this is very expensive. And to clean it out and to get a vac truck to come and suck the grease out of a main line is costing us more. So the thing that we want to do now is bring awareness to all the businesses that now you're being policed and you're not just going to not maintain your grease trap. We do have issues with private residents. So that's why we can't really police it like it should be. But the majority of the issues on Main Street is from the restaurants themselves that create those issues, and this is the reason why it needs to be addressed. I agree with the 5 days would be sufficient enough. Just like Kevin says, another jurisdiction has 3 days, so 3 days might be, advisable, but this is just the beginning.
One more thing.
And things can be adjusted as we go.
One more thing that it just something my wife said popped into my head. The schools, they have cafeterias and grease traps as well. Now, I don't think that there's an issue coming off of any of those lines like we have on 8th Street. But, they kind of need to be on it too because they're inside the city limits. At least Port Allen Elementary and Port Allen Middle School is also.
Holy Family.
And Holy Family, yeah. And
So will that be 5 business days?
And if we was to add third party, and how would we go about following up with, because I know we have to keep it third party for everything. So we would have to like come and train and get experience.
That's just like anything else, you got a contract. And that's at the expense of the city.
But you will be charging an annual permit now as well, and that is basically gonna help offset the cost of testing.
I don't think it'll add up to the money we've been able to spend on grease issues. So we need a motion just to defer until move to defer this item until next month.
Well, this is still the public hearing, so we'll.
Correct.
Yeah.
We're still in, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, anybody else wish to be heard from the public? Hearing none. We go to agenda item 14. Present an ordinance of the city of Port Allen providing for creation of section 86 through 109 through 86 through 121 of Division 3 of Article 3 of Chapter 86 of the Port Allen Code of Ordinances for the purpose of enacting the city's breach control program. Ordinance number 12 of 2023.
Ordinance number 12 of 2023, an ordinance of the city of Port Allen providing for the creation of section 86-109 through 86-121 of Division 3 of Article 3 of Chapter 86 of the Port Allen Code of Ordinances for the purpose of enacting the city's breach control program and to provide for related matters.
I move that we defer on this item until the proper language is drafted.
I'll say.
Got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilwoman Lacy to defer this matter. Any objections? Hearing none?
Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Mr. Hubble.
Yes.
Ms. Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. Riviere.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item 15, consider approving a cooperative endeavor agreement for $2,500 with the Justice for Patriot Committee to support their annual Stop the Violence Parade and Festival to be held October 28th of 2023. Ms. Murray? She's not here.
She could be here tonight, because of personal matters, but, of course, I spoke to her, and she said that she was just, asking the city to engage in a cooperative agreement, again this year. Basically, for the same purposes from last year, not deviating from that, from the 2,500 that she asked for from last year. And they have, throughout the year, they have had fundraisers to raise money for a unity float for all the victims and victims' families who want to be a part of the parade, who may or may not be able to afford it, and the purpose of feeding the community and the venue, and some of the other, like the speakers, if speakers was coming to speak, to be able to kind of give them some type of gift, or pay them to come out to speak. So she wanted to make sure that she informed the council of that. And as I stated before, this is an annual event that has been going consistently for the last 7 years.
Lacy,
And
I'm sorry.
she said thank you, she appreciated it.
But y'all not asking for us to pay for a band or anything, just
The
help out
same
with
thing
everything?
that they paid for last year.
I think last year, we did do a co-op with them, and I
I
believe
think it
maybe,
was McKinley.
yeah, I think we actually, paid directly for one of the marching bands, if I remember
Okay.
correctly. So no, we don't actually give the money directly to the entity.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just pay the bill for it. But I
I
think
was
we
just
have,
asking was this the same thing, the band and everything?
is there like a specific,
I think the same bands from last year will be participating this year.
okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we need something specific? I mean, we got till the end of next month.
Like
No, I
the
think
invoice,
she
like you
provided
did
us
last
something
year.
last year. So if she can get us the same
Yeah.
document, I think that she provided us last year. That would be good.
She provided that and the nonprofit status. I think she was asked to do a lot that she cooperated with.
So we just asking for the same.
I move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Brown, second by Council Lady Gordon. The motion is to
Approve a cooperative endeavor agreement in the amount of $2,500 with Justice for Patrol.
Lacy.
Ms. Brown.
yes.
Nope,
You got a question?
got a comment?
I just want, last year we paid for the band, but, one or two of them didn't show up, correct? Or something like that?
If they didn't show up, they didn't get paid.
Right, I'm just saying, yeah, well, I know that, I'm just saying, well, one or two of them didn't show up. I'm just saying by you all asking it, just for the cover up
I know
the show.
Port Allen High didn't show up.
Okay, that's all I just said, make sure that y'all was covered for the band, okay.
That's the only one of that, cause they had some type of engagement.
Roll call.
Got a motion and a second?
We got a motion by Mr. Brown.
You got one vote already.
Oh, we were voting that.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. Lacy?
Abstain.
Mr. Riviere?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item 16, consider approving a cooperative and other agreement with the Save Our Sons Committee in the amount of $4,000 in support of the annual Black History Day parade, Black History Month parade, to be held in February of 2024. Start.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam and Council. Ronnie Slaughter, co-founder with SOS Save Our Sons. We trying to get this thing started back up. We've been having a lot of people asking us to start it back up. This is our 23rd year. We didn't have it for 3 years. Well, I think the last one we had was in 20. It would have been our 26th year. So just trying to get everything started back up. You know, the band, we do trophies, grand marshals, dance teams. You know, last time I asked for 5, and I think this time we're gonna try to just go down the middle. It takes a lot to try to, like I said, get things started back up. So, and whatever, you know, we do, the man know, the checks are rolled out to everybody. It doesn't come to us. So whoever don't show up or whatever happens, you know, the money goes back to the city. So I really truly appreciate if y'all could give us this to get this stuff going back. We're also gonna have a gala this year, January the 5th. Starting that back up, try to get some fundraising, get some funds going. Everybody been asking to get some stuff going. SOS has been in this is probably 25, 26 years when Ira Grant was shot and killed. So we got to get our youth and some of these kids and stuff, something to do too. So we can really do a lot of other stuff, voter registration drive, all kinds of stuff. So just trying to ask the council also to work with us in the the co-op with us.
So, Ronnie, the 2 things. Have y'all sought out, I mean, you talk about you're gonna host a gala to raise some funds. Have you sought out, like, you know, corporate donations from in and around the community or?
Not yet. We're gonna get out, talk to Councilman Joe. We got a few people, we got a few irons in the fire, but, it hadn't, materialized yet.
And the other thing, I've gotten, brought to my attention, I would have never thought about it. Would it be possible to have the parade on Sunday when the businesses along the service road are closed? And it's just, because it does inconvenience some of the businesses that are open on that Saturday. I'm just relaying that question.
I don't know. You know, like I said, we've been doing it for 23 years, you know. Something to think about, I don't know, you know, I have to run that by the committee, but, right now, the thing is here, we looked at the schedule just, briefly. We were trying to do it February 10th, but Mardi Gras is on the 13th. So we're gonna have to either go to the 17th or earlier, because we don't wanna butt heads with Mardi Gras. So, we've really been doing it on Saturday. It's a lot of things, people going to church, you know, these bands don't want to come out. On Sunday, you know, so there's a lot of things, so.
Mr. Slaughter, can I piggyback on what you said? What he said about on Sunday, I'm not so concerned about the business being closed, but actually making money when people going out there and buying stuff from their store. But I do know when Port Allen High had their homecoming parade on the Sunday, the crowd was out there. versus Saturday, because a lot of people be shopping, going game, whatever. But on that Sunday after church, like 1 or 2 o'clock, everybody be out there. There's something for the family to do on a Sunday. Out there cooking at the parade or whatever.
You got to also understand too. That was the school. When they put that parade on, you know, they got a lot of kids, their parents, they got a lot of people coming out.
That's what I'm saying.
Parade, you know. And I don't know if they'll do that with us on Sunday. You know, we'll see.
They'll be there.
Well, I can tell you
They
from
will definitely be there.
They may or may not.
Yeah.
We had a hard champion parade, then a soul was out on Jefferson Avenue. So I can't tell you, I'm too sure about that.
I know we've had it 27 years.
Well, it was the direction that you went, it was what area you went to.
Sometimes they sure we've had the parade where it came all the way across the highway and all that stuff. So no one showed up on this side of the highway, so we just stopped.
Well, we left because they don't support that, I guess, you know, for whatever reason.
Let me refer back to, I know last year, why didn't the parade, the council, we, voted to give some funds,
Right.
but you did the parade.
There wasn't enough. We're trying to get the jump back started again. And I don't want to bring up a lot of the stuff that happened. But some of the bands that I had went to, they wasn't coming back for that little money we was giving them because Mr. Hubble had a parade and he Southern Lab and some other, they gave them $1,000. And so some of the band records told me they wasn't coming back for that. So I wanted to do it the right way. I could have put it on and then, you know, we might have had 2 bands and short parade, you know. We're gonna have to work harder. Like I say, it's hard to jump start again. You should know that. I know Mr. Hubble knows that. It's hard to jump start these parades again. But everybody been pushing and asking us to do it again, so we're trying to do it. Along with the city of Port Allen. This is the first time we've done that also.
What?
We joined in with the city of Port Allen, got sponsored. You know what I'm saying? Be a part of it, like. That's all right.
They've been giving it for years, huh?
The city engaged to a corporate endeavor every time. Anytime, I mean, you know, that's how
I'm asking to put on their website, do a lot of other stuff they haven't done before. They got here finally.
Oh, the advertise.
So, any other questions?
I mean, if you know, everybody knows where we stand. I like to be fair. You know, and this is, of course, not the only event that the city engaged in a cooperative endeavor. And I'm just saying, I like to be fair. And we have to start putting some
I don't want to hear that. We've been saying that since I've been on this board.
I just think, you know, like, I know 2,500, 3,000, I mean, that's just, hey, I just want to be fair with everybody. We want to come in, because a lot of people come in and ask for money. We just coming from one line item budget here. Like, we have everybody that come to the city, that pull on the city, and the city want to help everybody. But everybody have to be considerate of the next person too. Because we have other people that we do want to help. And that's all I'm saying with that. Let's just be considerate when we start asking the city to help. Because the city do want to help everybody that they can. That's high school, middle school, organizations, everybody. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? No.
So what are y'all agreeing on? Are y'all agreeing on the 4,000 or 3,000 or 2,500? No one has said what we agreeing on.
Well, first you have to entertain a motion. So the motion would be for
We still need to know
$4,000.
what we motion on. Agree to what?
That's $4,000. So if you get a motion for $4,000.
Is there a certain expense, Mr. Slaughter, that you can present documentation to?
We always do that when we, you know, I have it all together. You know, we just want to get it rolling, you know, because it's not till either January or February, so I didn't want to wait at the last minute. But, you know, like I said, each time we always come out with the receipts or whatever the band's gonna charge, the trophy. You know, we have a like a line item with all of this.
Clerice, what did you mean by being fair? What are you exactly talking about?
And being fair and being considerate, we have, like I said, we have helped a lot of organizations, even who their roles that came here for the $2,000, family a day at the park, like we want.
$1,500.
Okay, we want to just make sure we could continue to help people in it fast as we can, and we want the organizations to be considerate, you know, of the city being able to do that.
But I blame us, Lacy, because we've been saying for years and months, we need to sit down and make a budget of what we're gonna give each group that comes in. And that we have not done. But we only discuss it when someone come ask us about money. So, you know.
I mean, we've given some numbers, and even with Rose, she said we was gonna do like the application, like let it be like a grant, just nothing gets done. It just be all talk.
But it's not their fault because they asked
No, I'm not saying
but it's our fault because we're not doing what we say we are gonna do.
That's what I'm agreeing with.
Well, could we put, you know, these cooperative endeavors, put a cap?
We've been saying it for years.
I mean, because the city, even with the other parade, we still have to have the porta potties, we still do the security, all that's being paid for throughout by the city. And that's for any event, so we do our part. It's not like we don't.
But are you're not asking us, well, I guess you will be asking for security, the porta potty and stuff. Are you asking for the city to provide that also for you?
Yeah, they usually do. They do that every.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know what she's saying about, yeah.
But they do that, that's nothing new.
No, it's not, but it's still costing us. That's what she's saying.
I know, y'all do that everybody.
Yeah, but everybody don't ask, that's what I'm saying. It kind of equal.
Well, Mr. Slaughter, I'm gonna ask you this question here. You asking for 4. If we give you 3, can you work with that?
Let's go to 35.
Let's go to 3.
Looks like a head.
Because everybody else asks for $2,500, so I'm trying to give you $500 extra for what everyone else asking for. To be fair, like she said. So I think for 3,000, I mean, you can do a lot with 3. What do you think? I mean,
well, you know, we'll let everybody know what's going on. We'll take the 3, but I'm gonna let everybody know, you know, what happened. A lot of we might not have immediate bands. We might not have a lot of stuff we was gonna have.
But you still have your gala.
Everybody asked me to do this, so we're gonna do that. But I'm gonna also let everybody know what transpired.
That's fine. They can watch it on Facebook Live.
Oh, that's good.
What's your idea of what transpired? Because I don't want us to have misunderstandings. As a matter of fact, I want us to be able to work together. But we just gotta be considerate.
We do. I mean,
we have things that that the city putting on itself for the senior citizens. All that's coming out that same. It's not coming from a different place. And we try and stretch that one budget thin. But we do it.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Ronnie, I didn't know I paid a band $1,000.
Well, about the band already told me, so I don't know.
But
I'll never know what told me from Southern Air.
Ronnie, let me go back to something. I'm gonna go back to the year 2013, and you couldn't ask for the money because your wife was mayor. Okay, that was understandable. So you know where you got the money?
About that.
So
where did I get it from? You asked me where did I get it from?
Yeah.
We'll have fundraisers then.
You also had the tourist center.
Right, they paid the insurance for it, that's correct.
And while you think I'm very hard I was the one that authorized that payment to subsidize that parade.
Yeah,
It came directly through me.
I remember that. They don't do it anymore.
No, because it got to where everybody was asking us for money. You've brought up about, you say it's my parade, it's not my parade, it's veterans, okay? They're honored, I'm not a veteran. But I send out, in essence, excess of 150 letters during the summer to ask for donations. To date, as of today, I have received $100. If that's the best I can do, that's all I can do. But I went out last year during it, within 12 days, just me, not counting those letters, I raised $2,200. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been done. And we rely on hustling, going out and doing that.
There's a lot of work.
Yes, sir, and you know that.
Oh, yeah.
But on the flip side of this, and you believe in this because you've done this for years, and I applaud you for that. Clerice has done the same thing, and I applaud her for that. But we need to have skin in the game. And that means we go out and hustle. We just don't come up to the city and hope that the city's going to pay for the bulk of it. Sure, we don't mind helping. We don't mind helping anybody. I know you may think they're different on me, but I'm sorry if you think that. But again, I think with the council, and I think that with Clerice, that's why I asked her, what are you being fair? With an organization that she's involved with, she asked for 25. Well, she didn't ask for it, but the committee asked for it. And I think there's been a lot of talk in the past, and we haven't done it. It should be a cap put on. And I think that needs to be done first. If you're gonna have an ordinance or whatever you're gonna do it, however you want the language, I think you need to have a cap so everybody knows where you stand and what can be received.
I agree.
Yeah. But I think what you do with, how do I want to put it, portraying Black History Month, it's a great thing. Stop the Violence Parade, heaven knows we need that now. There's a bunch of fools out there, and we need that. We need that guy. And Miss Robinson's that's coming up after you, that's the one I applaud. Number one, it's only $350. It's great. But the other thing, this is directly mentoring people. And we're at a critical mass right now with our young people. I don't care if you're white, black, blue, or whatever you are. But again, we're talking about taxpayer money. And I'm just asking you, let's have some hustling. I'll hustle with you. I have no problem asking for money.
I'm gonna call on
You call on me for anything.
you.
But listen, you know, I know you believe in it. Clerice believes in what she does. I believe in what I do. But I put everything into it.
Well, we've been doing it a long time.
I know.
Like I say, it came my action was short time. We've been mentoring kids, man, for 20-something years.
That is very important.
It's not out. There's a lot of stuff happening. We got baseball, softball teams, altitude tours, we did it all. That's all that. 501c3 nonprofits, we did it all. Getting ready to start doing a lot of other stuff again. Because people are asking us.
It's very important right now to do that.
That's a part of you.
But I don't know if we need to. Maybe set up a cap.
All right. If there's any more discussion, you go ahead and take a motion.
What we making a motion on?
Well, you first have to make a motion.
I mean, what we making it on? To accept the
motion can be anything.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make the motion that we've been discussing this till the cows come home. if we're gonna do a ordinance on an amount, I think we need to do that first.
We can't do that.
Well, no, I feel that
like you hear
if we gonna do the ordinance, we need to, he come here before us. Now, we need to make a decision what we're gonna do now. And then we need to start immediately afterwards for the beginning of the year to start on the cap. Just don't cap now because he here asking.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
Okay,
we
well-
just need to start on this cap that we've been doing for 2 years that we have not done. So if we gonna do the cap, we gonna start at the first of the year. It's not fair for us to do that to him.
And what maybe I would recommend on that is maybe pull several go back a couple budget years, see what you have historically budgeted in that line item for community development. And that's kind of, you know, your cap may always increase a little bit, maybe decrease a little bit depending on what your projections are, but see what that number has always been. And then from there, maybe try to figure out, okay, each year, what are the events that have kind of been a reoccurring every single year event for the city? And then you
You
can
always
try-
gave me $3,000. That's what they always gave me.
Yeah, I have been tracking a little bit. And
So I mean, they could ask for
But
that.
that'll help you kind of figure out, okay, this is normally the amount we normally have. We know about this and much of that amount typically goes to these programs that we know we want to do every single year, and that frees up, you know, maybe X amount of dollars for random things that may come up during the year that maybe the council wants to cooperate with. But
Just, I guess, to try to expedite the matter, you also haven't made a donation in 3 years. That's also something to consider. That as you gave 3,000 for 3 years, you'd be at 9 instead of 4. So I understand time out, look, I understand all the conversations, but at this point, it's a matter of, you gonna vote on the floor, you gonna make a motion to amend to a different amount, or you gonna table them out and come back? Because I think the discussions, we've had these, like you all said, for quite some time, so I don't think it's gonna get resolved tonight in terms of putting a cap in place.
I don't think that the council is in agreement with 4, but I would give 3.
so the motion can be whatever number you want. They have
Yeah,
requested
I make the
for.
motion for 3.
I was gonna say they requested 4, but the council can put whatever number in the motion that it wants to make.
There's a motion by Mr. Gordon for 3 and second by Mr. Brown.
All right, got a motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Brown, for total amount of $3,000. I'll support the annual Black History Day parade for next year. Any objections? Hearing none?
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Hubble,
Yes.
Ms. Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. Riviere.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Evan, you need to draw up our ordinance and what we need to do with the cap on for the first of the year.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Agenda item 17, consider approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Port Allen Middle School in support of the mentoring program in the amount of $350.
You make a motion.
Second. Is you?
No, she was here last week.
Yeah.
She was here last week.
I got a motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Brown. Any objections from the audience? Hearing none?
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gordon,
Yes.
Mr. Hubble,
Yes.
Ms. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Riviere.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And I'm gonna make a donation to her program on behalf of my business in Port Allen. She's been doing it since last year. She started from ground roots and, you know, this mentoring program, so just make sure she understands.
All right, agenda item 18, condemnations.
None this time.
Agenda item 19, alcoholic beverage permit. Agenda item 20, announcements and correspondence. I've got one from Ms. Lacy, candidates forum. The president Parish President, Sheriff, Parish President Forum will be at 9 on September 20th at West Baton Rouge Community Center from 6 to 8 p.m. The Sheriff Forum will be September 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. at West Baton Rouge Community Center. And the City Marshal's Forum will be the same day on September 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the West Baton Rouge Community Center, hosted by the NAACP and Justice for Patrol. Also,
I'm sorry, it will be live streamed to West Side Journal, the West Side Journal, and yes, Facebook, YouTube, Elliot. Okay, it's gonna be live streamed. If there are any questions, you can ask a question online, ask questions to any candidate online as well.
okay, and one other announcement, Apostleville with Children's Ministry will be having a prayer walk, September the 23rd. That's a Saturday. It will begin at the depot. And they will proceed north down North Alexander to Rosedale Road, then come back up North Alexander, back to the depot, and in at the depot with a spiritual prayer for the community based on everything that's been going on within the community. So we invite everybody to attend. There is a flyer that I was supposed to put in the program, but I'll get it to each one of you guys to the exact time for that event.
Also, we're getting ready to celebrate our Veterans Day Parade, which will be on November the 5th at 1 o'clock. So, anybody who know anyone that served, let us know. We're looking for a Grand Marshal. And can I take Garrett myself?
All right. Anybody else have any other announcements? You know, we entertain item number 21, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Officer. Meeting is on both sides.